Why do they want to create descending hubs? Well, of course, because they're losing. Remember, we see amped up everything, like they are getting desperate, big time. Now, one of the big, agendas they're trying to create, there are fires burning all over the planet right now. In order to fully understand what's going on, we have to go deep. So I'm going to unravel so many things in this video, including understanding, is this natural? Is it artificial? Why is it happening? Timeline wars are amplified big time. Remember, when things seem like they're at their darkest, when evil seems to be prevailing, right? I could name off like 100 different disasters happening right now. The amount of extreme happening right now on the planet, we are at like a level 10. Now, of course, Maui, Hawaii is in everyone's hearts right now because of the level of extreme disaster and the death toll that is just, right, it hasn't even been figured out yet because it was such a horrible disaster. Now, was that created artificially or was it natural? Most of you probably already figured that one out, but I want to fully explain a lot more things in this video that a lot of people are not talking about. Now, first, understand that yes, we are in ascension times, which means massive amounts of solar flares happening. We are at solar maximum. I did talk about, actually right before all of this happened, in my Lionsgate video, that we are at the maximum MERKABA speed. So Earth is an electromagnetic being, just like we are. Earth is actually the extension of our nervous system as we click into higher and higher patterns. This is what it means to become higher conscious, right? It's not that we're just randomly holding more light. Light is a very systematic, harmonious pattern. It is crystallizing, like, beyond diamond. So understanding that when things happen in the planet, they are also simultaneously affecting us inside our own nervous system. And of course, this happens also in the atmosphere. This is why there's a bombardment of satellites going up weekly at this point. Know that everything, so you have to understand, okay, so even though we have maximum amount of energy on this planet, we are in the transformation, the shift right now into unification, into 0 point. We're healing the divine blueprint, all 12 dimensions and beyond of this entire universal time spiral. So this is not an issue or a problem or a transformation happening just within us or within Mother Earth or Gaia. It's happening within the solar system, the galaxy. The Milky Way galaxy is literally twisted off, out of alignment from its true alignment, merged with Andromeda. This is why science talks about that we're literally on a collision course and we're going to crash into Andromeda. Well, that's our sister galaxy. It's actually one and the same. Know that every single level has been distorted. So this is not something that just happened a couple years ago or right a couple thousand years ago. This has been an issue on this planet and in every single level, like I just explained, all the way levels deep into the atomic structure of our entire universal time spiral. This is a multiverse, right? We can call it the universe, but the universe, there's many multiverses. Let me tell you, it goes deep. And you have to understand that this has been an issue for eons. We live in a fallen system where everything is backwards. And it's essentially a death culture. And we just think it's normal, right? We've been programmed, dumbed down. Actually, I have a couple videos coming up. Make sure you push that subscribe button because I'll be talking about how we are literally dumbed down X-Men. Because, you know what, I'm getting to more on that video. But I want you to understand that even though massive weather changes have to happen as Earth, as we upgrade into higher levels, right? This is more higher crystallized patterns of the actual quantum field. This is like the field that creates the physical matter, the physical that we experience, right? This is a hologram. And when you change the underlying program, the actual, it's like the lattice work, the scaffolding, if you change the energy grids behind creation, that is how creation changes. But we can't just change all the pieces of what is actually already created in the particleized world. It's not going to happen, right? Because that will take eons to change every problem. We have to change the atomic level. This is the quantum field. This is why everything's resetting to 0 point. And nothing and no one can get, right, can skip this process. So understanding that, yes, there will be weather changes. There will be some upheavals as far as earthquakes, fires, floods. Nothing to the extreme that is happening on the planet. Not even close. So one of my main, so 99% of what I do is gate work. So I'm gonna have a full video on it, but I actually took a week or two to get this video out because I've been called to another area for over a year now, Squamish and Whistler, and I knew it'd be dense. I knew it's like a party kind of town. I knew it would be a lot of density to clear, and so I put it off for a while. And after the events happening on this planet, over the past couple of weeks, I figured, okay, the land has been calling me for a while. I better get there, right? Because what happens is myself and actually a lot of you, we are stabilizers, harmonizers. So when we are in a certain grid point, so other people might have different, other people might be grid workers or even gatekeepers, but they might have a different process. But for me, when I move into a certain place, I become all the grids in that area. And my field goes on for miles, even hundreds of miles, right? So, but the inner core is where I am in this time-space coordinate. And so when I move into certain grid points on the planet, so I only go where I'm called. So I'm called to many places. I've been to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of places. But when I move into a spot, usually there is some weather things, right? There could be some lightning. There could be the wind usually just starts, rapidly changing and accelerating. I've had lots of different weird things. Again, I'll go into in a full video. Make sure you guys put that subscribe button and the notification bell because I want to get into many more things in this video. But there is always a shift as things click in, right? As the nervous system, as the light body of that grid system starts to harmonize. So the more harmonic your own energy field is, the more that you can harmonize everyone and everything around you. So it's up to you to stabilize your own chaos. Again, I'll be talking about that in many more videos to come, how to do that. But understanding that we stabilize and harmonize a certain grid point. And so these extreme events can't happen, right? Because what happens is if a huge polarized energy, let's say an electrical impulse, you know what I'm talking about? Now people are talking about this happening in the atmosphere. This also happens in the actual energies of the planet, inside the planet, right? Under the crust, in the aquifers. There's a lot of different layers of grids that can be used to amplify, right, the polarized, let's say, destruction from certain people in the world or certain forces that want to prevent ascension. So they need to destroy land masses. This is why gatekeeping is so important. This is why I need to follow, and also you do, if you're called to a certain area or country or city or nature spot or mountain, follow that, because what it means is you are not only receiving templates to benefit your DNA, to activate you into higher levels, you could also be the person that stabilizes and harmonizes that grid point so we don't have destructive things happen. So all the places I've been doing gate work for years, there are not fires. There's a lot of places through the Rocky Mountains, through Alberta, Vancouver Island, through Banff, Jasper, all the way through the ice fields. There's just so many different places. And you will see very small, let's say, a destruction can happen in those places because you harmonize those grid points And they actually link into higher and higher levels of dimensions. So my leg's going numb, I gotta readjust. But what happens is when destructive forces, or even, like I say, shifts in the planet happen because of more light. Remember, we are in ascension times. Just like your body, ascension symptoms, think about the planet, all the destruction, all the trauma, all the horrible things that have happened. When it has to click into a higher pattern, there can be shifting. Again, not to the extreme that we're seeing. But this is why it is so important for us to do the gate work, because it is literally harmonizing the spot, polarizing energies that are moving, let's say, horizontally or in different patterns. They dissipate. So let's just say the forces out there that don't want ascension don't like when we can get to certain places, because we're crystallizing the landmass, and it can't be destructed the way right to the extremes that we're seeing. So when you harmonize something vertically, sorry, a little doggy barking in the background. When you harmonize something vertically, it's the 0 point that starts dissipating outward. And when something comes in, it kind of either rebounds back to the sender, or it just dissipates. And this is why there is an agenda to destroy at the actual grid structure, the atomic level. They need things, right, certain areas of the planet destroyed. This is why, we see a complete destruction of, places like Canada, as an example. Let's just clear cut forests all over the place. And by the way, interestingly enough, I've heard from quite a few tree planters this summer that I've been talking to, that the fires that are burning are second growth forests. They're not the old growth forests up north in Canada and different places. So it just shows, right, when you have that original creation that has not been clear cutted, destroyed already. Every time that you have a place, let's say, where there is warring, there is, killing, there is toxicity, destroying and removing of the resources of that area, pollution, right? The people in that area are tormented. All of that contributes to a degrading, or say descending grid structure. So what happens is then that area of the grid is traumatized. It needs healing. It needs to be harmonic again. It needs to be essentially healed. And those of us that do that, right, that is what is really healing the whole creation. Because it's not just some of us are ascending, it's the whole creation ascends. And this is why we have to find and source out the deepest, darkest pockets of the planet, of ourselves, in order to harmonize them, to heal them. Love isn't about lovey-dovey, happy, joy. It's about, love is that harmonizing force, right? We live in this universe, this multiverse, this creation is based on love. Well, what is love? It's not just good, right? Love is everything. Now, some parts need attention, right? That love force is a harmonizing force. It's a healing force. It is a unifying. It actually creates higher structural, detailed grid and geometry that then the creation can birth from that into a higher form, a higher expression, right? We have smarter, higher consciousness people walking around instead of people degraded and dumbed down. So that is why there's an agenda there's many agendas, let's just be honest here. Now, one of them is, of course, what I mentioned, an attempt to destroy the actual grid work, the integrity. This is why they have to constantly be destroying places right now, because they're losing hold, right? So I'm going to talk more about that in my gatekeeping video, because I want to explain how the grids actually either create crystallized structures of creation, right? Smarter, higher consciousness beings, people, plant life, or the opposite, right? Just understand that their attempt to create descending hubs means that they need to consistently right now destroy, because you can't create a descending hub in a unified harmonic grid, right? If there's harmonic people, stabilizers, frequency stabilizers, so a lot of you are frequency stabilizers, are grid workers. Gate work now involves many, many, many years of literally embodying multi-dimensions, which means that you become the gatekeeper. There's no longer an actual being or an energy or a twist separating dimensions. They're all integrated within you, and so you are almost like the entire program. This is what it means to have light codes. This is what it means to activate people. You are the light code, many codes, right? It's your DNA that opens up into higher dimensions. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about more than the gatekeeping video. But if you're called somewhere, you have to follow through with that, because you could be that protector for that land, so that land doesn't turn into a descending hub, right? They can throw whatever frequencies wherever they want, but those frequencies will not create destruction or polarizing issues, right? Because what happens is we clear a lot of that trapped energy, that trauma within the grid, and that grid becomes a beautiful crystallized grid. And higher frequencies always destroy and collapse into small little pieces. Lower frequencies are rigid, right? It's kind of like a very simple shape versus a highly detailed geometry pattern. That's the difference between low frequency, which is a trapped loop, versus infinite high frequency that actually can expand infinitely, because you become the entire source field. This is what God's source consciousness is. It's pre any creation. So you can literally, right, you create something that you don't want, you just dissolve it. And that's how we reset the whole divine blueprint happening on the planet. Now, understanding why do they want to create descending hubs? Well, of course, because they're losing. Remember, we see amped up everything, like they are getting desperate, big time. Now, one of the big, agendas they're trying to create. So not to use any keywords for this video, I'm trying not to use words that will get flagged, but the changing of the climate, if you know what I'm talking about. Every single article, news article, the media, right? Even social media, right? Everyone that's in that, let's say the old matrix, every time you have anything happen, right? It's a hurricane, it's a fire, it's a flood, it's this, it's that. Oh, you will always see, oh, this is just a sign of times to come because of the changing of the climate, if you know what I'm talking about. Switch those words around. CC, you know what I'm talking about. So you have to see that they have to destroy the planet, destroy the climate, make it look like it's amplified. Oh my God, it's so horrible, you can't leave your house. Right? So everything you hear is happening. Or you can put your head in the sand, but the whole point is, just like we need to be that loving force. That purity of love is divine feminine energy, which is magnetism. Merge with divine masculine energy, which is electrical energy. We are electromagnetic beings. The planet is also an electromagnetic being. So you can use electromagnetic energy to create harm or health. So understanding that there are hidden ways, right? We can't just have the old warring ways of the past, right? Where there's, well, of course it's still going on, of course, in Eastern Europe. But overall, the tactics used are hidden. It's like the hidden hand that creates, right, that pushes society towards a certain way that they want us to be living. We've seen this all along. But when you completely create that fear in people that you are this small, right? That these horrible people out there are just frying everything with these weapons, right? It very disempowering. So knowing that you have all the power, which is why they have to take away your power constantly. They have to dumb you down 24/7, right? The goal is to make sure that people think that they have no rights, no power, and we're just sitting pawns waiting for the next destruction. So remember that all the stuff we're seeing, right? Because of course it's amplified. You know, just because you want to see the next evidence of the, you know, the horrible energy weapon that was used, remember that your consciousness is either anchoring you into an artificial timeline where you are feeding the artificial matrix, the phantom matrix. These are like pockets, phantom pockets in creation. So think about it, right? Like the whole of creation, like I talk about, is grids and geometry. When you have, so think about I'm like a beautiful multi-tiered spider web. When you create a hole, there's a hole, there's a void, right? It's a reversal in that area of the grid. It loses integrity. It starts to degrade. It's a descending hub of creation. And that is where all the little, you know, dark beings, dark energies, dark forces, dark thoughts like to live. Now, huge amounts of people on the planet are existing fully in these artificial frequencies. We actually all did. Right? We woke up, we started activating ourselves beyond this phantom matrix. So we don't want to be angry at people are stupid and don't get it. It's more a matter of understanding that they are locked into this phantom hole. And this is why it seems like, you know, everything's so horrible, and they want the governments, the multinational corporation, the billionaires, whoever it is, right? Someone else that has power because I'm this small. They want those people to save them. So what's going to happen, right, is the agenda to make things so horrible out there. And this includes both sides, right? It's the people that are not at all awake to anything going on, right? That just think it's just some fires and oh my God, it's the changing of the climate. To the other extreme, which is, right, the people that are wide awake and know it's horrible people creating these issues. Well, you're feeding two sides of the same coin, right? You're feeding the falsehood because they need, remember, so it's not just destroying places to create smart cities, right? They need these descending hubs. It's also, they want people trapped into this descending hub. So I'm talking about not just on the planet, these descending hubs, but I'm talking about you as a being that's completely anchored into that lower frequency. Right? It's all about the patterns. Are you in a highly integrate, beautiful pattern? Or are you in chaos? So the key is to create absolute chaos in every way. Even if you're awake and you think that you're, you know, like trying to wake everybody up and make everyone realize what caused these fires, or what caused these floods, or this hurricane, or whatever. Remember that if you're feeding that chaos by you being in chaos with your thoughts racing, you know, your racing mind, your emotions, you're feeling helpless, you're feeling that rage, all that, right? Again, the energy is natural. It's how you either allow it to be perpetuated on and on and on, right? Being angry for the rest of time. Guess what? Any lower frequency that is of chaos, so any energy that we don't really like feeling, right? The ickiness, the, you know, some people call it the crunchiness, like that, right? People don't like that. And that's a sign of chaos. That's not a pattern that you like. That's not a harmonizing pattern. So if you are contributing to that because you are feeding into, you know, horrible people are destroying the planet, oh my God, better tell everyone and better, you know, watch every single horrible video about it. Guess what you're feeding, right? If you're feeling the rage, yes, that's good. That's a sign, right? You woke up, you're beyond just numb. But fuel that into something productive. Anchor yourself into something where you have the power back within you. right? Because the narrative is that, oh my God, these horrible negative people, right, the bad people of the world that are essentially controlled by, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I talk about many other videos. Check out my video, things like billion-year-old evil, things like that, to understand more. But when you feed into that decision that you have no power, because they're just going around starting fires, you know, randomly, just, you know, creating Armageddon, right? There's a whole nother people, of course, there's a whole many groups of people out there that also believe it's the end times, it's Armageddon, you better be saved by, you know, X, Y, and Z religion, or this and that, you know. When you're feeding into that you are this small and that these are just forces happening in the world randomly, that you don't have any power, that is part of the issue. That's just as, right, that's just as low as not even, right, as being oblivious to what's going on. So you have to remember that rage within you, that, you know, or if you're feeling helpless, in complete fear, get that energy out. I have many videos talking about that. 14 ways to cleanse negative energy, things like that. Check out that video. You want to get that energy moving, fuel it to start your new life. Right now we are in it. So we are also in massive retrograde season. I'm going to talk about that more in September energy update video. Subscribe for more for that coming up. But just understand, you have to keep asking why. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why are they trying to, you know, make us believe this? Why are they trying to get your attention, your emotion out about this? And remember that a lot of the awakening stuff, right? The people that are, you know, that can't get over the psychopaths of the world, that is feeding two sides of the same beast. So you have to be able to get the energy out, fuel it towards a new life, a new way of being, right? A new world. You are either fully anchored in the new earth timeline, which is you are empowered. You see the BS. And you're not running away from it. You're not denying it. You're not raging about it. You're in the point of power where you can detach yourself from that, not support it through your thoughts, your money, your time, your attention, right? And the whole point is go deep. Keep asking why. Why? Go a billion levels deep, right? Because that's where the answer is. That's where the truth is. Start worrying about yourself. Start worrying about uncovering the true authentic self, which does not exist in the phantom pocket. Because it's not just that, right, people are just don't get it. People are fully ingrained into a reversal timeline because they are the timeline. You are the timeline. Remember that. You're not trapped in a timeline. You have become the architecture, the chaos of a timeline. And that's what keeps you in a false matrix. When you crystallize yourself by doing the inner work, removing the inauthentic parts of you, removing the parts of you that play small, that are scared to be seen, right? The parts of you that hold on to the past and won't let go. The past people, past situations, past maybe jobs, maybe businesses, whatever it is. The past way of the world. Because we're in it. Let me tell you, we are in the change now. Yes, it looks horrible out there. They want you to feel that you are this small and have no power. Again, I have another video coming up about how you came here to disrupt the matrix. And 6 or 7 ways, I don't know, maybe 8 ways of how to do that. So again, subscribe for more. But just see how every single thing going on, you are either feeding yourself, right? What timeline are you? Are you sovereign? Are you crystallized? Are you harmonic? Are you in balance? Are you being and taking action? Right? Are you being, which is the magnetism, the receiving, the following your intuition, the creativeness, that's the feminine, but are you also taking action? Thinking logically, analyzing, right? Determined, strong, courageous. That's what we need right now. We need people to step up into their soul missions, whatever that is. You know within you. It's the thing that probably makes you most scared. But that is what's going to step you into your highest expression possible of why you came here in this most amazing transformational time. You know, of course, all of our hearts and our love goes out to the people that are suffering right now. But you don't have to take on that pain right now. Right now is the time to transmute that pain. Use that fuel to start feeding a new life for yourself. Instead of feeding the old that's being destroyed, right? Instead of being completely just feeling so horrible for the people that are suffering, right? Of course, we are all feeling it. The people that have lost their lives, the families, the towns, but also the earth, right? We're feeling it. There's a reason why we're all feeling such amplified energy right now. But know that you're either feeding the good, let's say the new, I won't say the good, because it's not about good and bad, right? That's that polarity thinking, right? It's the good guys versus the bad guys. That's polarity thinking. That keeps you stuck in polarity, in the phantom pockets, right? This is kind of, so this is the creation, it's split, and this is where people are existing from, here and here, bouncing back and forth, right? When you're unified, that's where all the power is. That's where you see the BS, but you also feel it. You feel truth from a lie. You know, for me, I don't even need to hear all the horrible stories out there, because I can just feel, right? When you are completely tuned in and anchored in, it's not just tuned in with your mind knowing things. You have become the crystallized structure of God's source consciousness internally, right? Embodied within your physical body, where your body is recoded into a higher expression, a higher matter state, right? I am no longer a carbon-based biology. I am plasma and beyond, right? Plasma and just pre-light sound fields. And when you become like that, you can just feel alive. It feels empty. It feels cold, right? It feels finite. When you feel truth, you can feel the wholeness of it because it's connected into the infinite. So I'm going to talk more about the changing of the climate and things like that, because we have to know that everything going on right now is an underlying push towards the outcomes that, let's say, the negative forces of creation, the bad people, are trying to create. So it's nothing's random right now. Now, of course, remember too, it's not all artificial. Some things naturally have to change, shift, transform. But when we do our gate work and grid work, when we are aligned, when we are stable, we can be stabilizers of frequency for others and for the grid. And when huge, massive energies come in, they are not bounced around causing destruction. They simply, right, we usually feel them within our body, and it's very heavy and scary sometimes. But they dissipate, they harmonize, and they, you then have healed that grid, and that grid can now take on a higher structure. And nothing of a lower frequency can F with that, let's say. So know that there's a lot of artificial timelines going on. I did do a reel talking about specifically Hawaii and how it is, right? It is the vertical connection, right? It's one of the highest stargate points of the planet, which means that they're trying to destroy it, right? Now, Kauai is actually the 12th dimensional inner Earth stargate point, I believe. Now, Maui is also completely anchored in, right? It's the whole 12th dimensional, let's say, complex. All the Hawaiian Islands. I've done myself lots of gate work in Oahu. I've never been I've been to Maui or Kauai. I definitely would love to go someday. Hopefully, if things, start transforming and settle down and start rebuilding. But it could be, right, where remember that this is an absolute awakening for a lot of people. And a lot of things going on, for example, in Maui, right, being kind of a tourist trap for so many years. I live on Vancouver Island, which is a major tourist trap, but nothing to the extreme that Hawaii is. But I can, you know, I feel when massive amounts of people come here, right? And so when things are always in that state of chaos, when there's always new people coming and going, and right, not, you know, most people don't respect the land, the beauty, the sacredness of that land. There's a lot of energy that has to come through and be released. But of course, it's an attempt to destroy the vertical connection, which is how we are moving through the ascension cycle. We've already anchored in. We've already solidified that stargate. It is fully amplified. Now, of course, it has some destruction in it. You know, let's say a descending hub. Well, the people of Maui and Lahaina and places like that, the original Hawaiians, the stargate keepers of that land. They are the guardians of that land, and they hold within their DNA the light codes to rebuild those stargate points that got destructed. So again, don't be in fear that all is lost. Those amazing people there that are, you know, healing will also heal the earth in their area as well. They will heal the planet and that stargate network. So remember to not be in fear and sadness about everything, but see it as a huge wake-up call for the world, and a wake-up call for First Nations people everywhere. I know in Canada, where I live, major run off the land of the First Nations people, right? All the fires that they just let burn. They had no intention of ever putting those out. They created infernos to try to make sure that all of those First Nations bands of, or essentially those villages up there, got ran off their land, right? So it's about detaching people from where they are connected. Now, I'm sure that was also probably originally not even their original areas that those First Nations people were actually originally living on, you know, before they got put there by the colonials. But just know, right, you have to be aware right now. You can't run from it. The whole point is don't let yourself get pulled around by it. See it, and you become the answer, the solution to what's happening, right? It's about connecting with others, giving of yourself instead of worrying about, oh my God, the economy is going to blow up and this and that, and, you know, I better hoard all my belongings, you know, or making money off of other people's, you know, like you heard some of that. I'm sure you heard some of that. The realtors on the ground and the investors on the ground, on foot, trying to buy up those properties. You know, and all of that is waking people up. People trying to profit off of other people's, misery. It's all got to go. And people are seeing it more than ever now. So keep that in mind, always. And again, many videos to come on EARTH1111. Let me know in the comments what you guys are going through, what you guys think about all this. And I hope I earned a thumbs up. If you need more help, I have some courses on my website. You can check out EARTH1111.com and lots more information. And subscribe to the channel because I have so many videos coming up. And check out my past videos for a lot more help in navigating the chaos out here. And also you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well for a lot more different content. But we'll see you very soon. I'm back from, like I said, my gatekeeping for a bit. I do feel called again in another couple weeks, but I'm trying to get some more videos out for you guys to really help you as things, right, get more and more amplified. We need more support to really zone in on what's important. So sending all my love to all of those people that are going through horrible tragedies right now. But remember that everyone is in it together, right? You are not alone. I love you. I'm Roxanne. This has been EARTH1111. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.